Hi, everybody. I'm Christina Hamilton. I'm the Advocacy Director for the American Lung Association in Illinois and Iowa, and I serve as the Illinois State Lead for Lung Force Advocacy Day. And I'm joined by two of our wonderful Lung Force heroes in Illinois, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. John, would you like to go first, please?
Hello, everyone. My name is John Anderson III. I'm a 58-year-old man living in Chicago, Illinois, and I am a ROS1 lung cancer survivor.
Thank you, John. And Paul?
And I am Paul Chown, also of Chicago, Illinois. And I am a 67-year-old survivor of stage 4 lung cancer.
Thank you, Paul. So both Paul and John, as I mentioned, have served as Lung Force heroes. Paul virtually for 2 years and John virtually for 1 year. So I'm going to back over to them to allow them to share about their stories. And these are the stories that they shared with congressional staff members last year, and for Paul the year before as well. So Paul, I'll let you go first this time. Can you tell us?
Okay, so a little bit, it was a really great experience talking to the legislators and or their staffs. And one good thing about doing it 2 years in a row is I remembered some of the people I spoke with the prior year. So the connection had already been made. So that was really rewarding. And what I would tell them was, I would begin with, my name is Paul Chown. I am a stage 4 lung cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with this disease in June of 2017. I had a tumor in my lung, which had metastasized to my brain. 3 days after my diagnosis, I had brain surgery to remove the tumor on the left side of my brain, which affected my ability to walk. And that was the warning signal that I had. We have no way of knowing how long I had lung cancer, but once the metastasis to my brain happened, it affected my ability to walk, and I wasn't able to walk or stand. After my brain surgery, after my brain surgery, I was unable to move my leg or my foot, and my neurosurgeon told me it was going to get worse before it got better, and he was definitely correct. I was in the neuro ICU for 10 days, and then I was discharged to a rehab hospital where I was for a month learning how to walk again. I was bound to a wheelchair, which was a great incentive to work really hard in rehab, because there's nothing like being in a wheelchair to realize that your life is going to be profoundly impacted if you can't get out of the chair. My goal in rehab was to walk out of there, and I'm happy to say that a month after I began, I did walk out of rehab, albeit with a leg brace, but I walked out on around 2 feet, and a month of physical therapy as an outpatient allowed me to get rid of the brace. And since then, I have been walking mostly like a normal person. And this was all in 2017, the summer of 2017. My immunotherapy and chemotherapy regime began in August of 2017. And by November of 2017, the tumor in my lung had shrunk by over 30%. And this was from the immunotherapy. At that time, my tumor was determined to be stable. And even though I'm no longer getting immunotherapy because it was giving me bad side effects, I was on it for 18 months. And we think that the immunotherapy is likely the reason why I am still here today, almost 5 years later, because I had the immunotherapy treatment. In September of 2020, they decided, my oncologist and a radiation oncologist decided to treat me with radiation to get rid of the tumor in my lung. As the radiation oncologist said, we will eliminate your tumor, which I said, sign me up for that. So we did do the radiation treatments in September of 2020. Since that time, through further CT scans, we know that the radiation has changed the tumor. It's now actually called irradiated fibrosis, no longer being called a tumor. So that's exciting, but I'm still doing chemotherapy every 5 weeks now instead of every 3 weeks, because it was every 3 weeks for quite a long time. So that's really good. And I can say that, the immunotherapy really did save my life. It really did save my life. If I had gotten this diagnosis 10 years ago, I would have gotten a terminal diagnosis, most certainly. So I'm not a research scientist, but I can say with certainty that the groundbreaking immunotherapy research, it's valuable. I would no longer be alive had it not taken place. So we need to continue to increase funding for research at the National Institutes of Health so that this life-saving research into novel immunotherapies can continue and new immunotherapies can be brought forth. It will save many more lives impacted by lung cancer. And as we know, it's the largest killer of both men and women in the nation. Lung cancer is the most deadly of all of the cancers. Yes. It does not discriminate. If it's caught early, it can be treated much more successfully, and new immunotherapies will make saving more lives a reality. So that's kind of what the pitch that I gave to my legislators and staff.
That was excellent, Paul. Your story, still is so impactful to me, hearing.
Wow.
Again, and I really appreciate you sharing. And I'm so happy to hear about all the progress that you're making in your treatment, and you're doing chemo less frequently. So thank you so much, Paul.
You're welcome.
And I know that you have excellent health care at Northwestern where you receive care. And I know, John, as well, you've had excellent health care through your spouse's employer. So I'll let you share your story, and if you could talk about the importance as well of just access to healthcare as you've gone through your lung cancer journey.
Oh, hi, everybody. All my brothers and sisters, we are here all together. What I got out of the advocacy day is that it was really good to work with Christina and Paul and Annette and all the help we had being novice of speaking to these people about something so important and so severe in some of our lives. And it was really good to be heard. They heard me, they listened, and I really felt good about that. And I told everybody about it. What I done, my daughter went out and posted something about her dad was a Long Force hero, and I'm just blown away, because something that we sometimes feel as negative has come out to bring something positive. It was dynamite. That's all I can say. It was so interesting. I would have loved to go to New York to Washington to look across the table for them and see them face to face and shake their hands, let them know the sincerity from my heart of what I felt with this cancer. And what happened with me pretty much is I had a shoulder injury. I went to have a CT scan. Come to find out they found a tennis-sized ball shape in my left lung. I went to have the biopsy, and come to find out it was a really severe cancer. I think they had they gave me my diagnosis on a Thursday. I think that Monday I was in surgery. That's how severe and how quick it was moving. They took my entire left lung. Okay, that's okay. I didn't know you can survive with only one lung, but here I am before you. Now, what I did too, because the cancer came back into my only lung, so I'm saying, oh my goodness. But thank goodness to research and medications. I went through 2 medications. The second one from Pfizer called Xalkori. I would say, people say I'm in remission. I say it's been eradicated. I've been doing great for the past, since 2017. CT scans are great. Everything is great. I've been through nothing like Paul has. We call us Long Force heroes. We should be called Long Force warriors. He's a warrior. So I want to say thank you to everybody involved in legislation. Thank you, Christina. Thank all those, Annette, everyone in Washington that are helping us to get this out there, to let people know we need your help. God bless and thank you.
Thank you, John. Your story as well is so incredibly impactful, and really appreciate you sharing it. You know that because you had to have one lung removed, that affected your ability to work. So can you talk a little bit about, the importance of, your wife having healthcare that you could utilize for your care, your lung cancer treatment?
Oh yeah, I'm glad you reminded me about that. I was working at a beautiful job. It was so sweet, parking some of the most beautiful cars in the world. About to go back to school. But when I came up with this, my shoulder was what they call workman's comp. You know about workman's comp. At that particular time, I was what they call a part-time full-timer, no health insurance. So thank God I just remarried the love of my life that September before that dreaded March in 2013. And without her insurance, I honestly don't know if I would be sitting before you. Because I'm pretty sure I would have had to wait at Stroger, which I heard is one of the best and most outstanding hospitals in the country, but I know the volume. And I've heard people that had to wait for months, 6 weeks. And if I would have had to wait 6 weeks or a couple months, it was too aggressive. I wouldn't be here sitting before you. So the important thing, they always talk about health insurance. The first thing they say when you walk into the building, health insurance. You have your health insurance, not hi, John, how's the family? It's health insurance. So it really made me kind of sit back every time I went, you guys, and I would just sit there and look at them and all these people that are feeble and hurting, and some that look great. But you know what's inside is what's going on. And for them to be asked for insurance the first time, it really scared me. If I didn't have insurance, where would I be? I mean, I would have lost I have children that are young. I have a mother who needs me. I have a wife who I love dearly. And I just didn't believe it was the end. But thank God for doctors. Dr. Marta Bates at Rush University in Chicago. She sent my sample out to be um, diagnosed, I guess, or whatever they do, test. Come to find out I had ROS1. I never heard of ROS1, but thank God, because of that little marker, genetic marker in my DNA, that's right, it saved me. It worked with me. And I've been taking it religiously since. And I can tell you, I guess I'm getting used to the side effects, if there are any. So that's the main thing I wanted to say, that thank God for the research. Thank God for health insurance. And that's really important. And it scares me that there's some people that I love dearly that don't have health insurance, that are smokers or that are working in the city. So what happens to them? And that's the main part I want to put across to the legislation. We need health care. It should be a right and not a privilege. Thank you.
Thank you so much, John. Yeah, the
Mhm.
importance of affordable, accessible healthcare is critical, and I know that's been apparent for both of you. I know, Paul, you
Mhm.
talked about how wonderful your team is that you've been, seeing at Northwestern for quite
Right.
some time. So.
Yeah. Very, very grateful for my medical team. And, one of the things that I said to the legislators last year was, it should be a human right to have healthcare in this country. This country has so much money. There is no reason why people should be without healthcare. So we really need to reform our health system so that everyone has accessible and available healthcare, because without it, my diagnosis could have been missed. And, many people have a real struggle to even get in anywhere because they don't have healthcare. So that's something that hopefully this year's Lung Advocacy Force team will hit that point again with everyone they talk to, as accessible and affordable healthcare, because it is really, really important to the survival of a civilized nation, for everyone to be able to have treatment.
Absolutely.
Yes, because it affects our family, it affects our finances. Who wants to be worrying about their loved one and worrying about their money at the same time? That's bringing stress upon them. So help is needed. Help, once again, like Paul said, it should be a right and not a privilege, but it's needed. Period.
Absolutely. Well, thank you both. I guess in closing, how did you prepare for telling your stories? You both tell it so well and succinctly, but still really in a very impactful way. So how did you prepare, and what did you use like the day of as well to help you through?
Well, what I did first is I just sort of jotted it down and timed it, because we were asked to have a 2-minute speech and a 15-second speech, and not really belaboring it, but so just start, write your story and then time it and keep revising it. But the best advice I can give you is just serve it from your heart, talk from your heart, and and these people they're gonna like you. They're gonna want to hear your story. They're going to, it's impactful. So realize that whatever you say, as long as you're sincere, that's the goal. So just be sincere and tell your story. And don't worry about how it's presented. As long as you're telling it from your heart, it's good. So.
Thanks, Paul.
And I'm taking cues from Paul. The same thing it took me, because I can be long-winded, believe it or not, but I jotted it down. I practiced. I even recorded myself so I can make sure I didn't look confused or wasn't able. Like Paul said too, take your story, do like a PowerPoint, get to the details that you feel are going to really get your point across of the importance of what you need, what other people need, and how it affected you and you affected your life. This is just not about you, it's about your family, it's about your job. I mean, it's so much affected. But remember, like Paul said, come from the heart. Take your time, breathe, and record yourself. And we can see where you're sitting, how you're saying it. And trust me, it'll be okay. But just remember, be yourself, be sincere, and you'll be okay. God bless.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John and Paul, for sharing your stories again and all this great advice and passion. We really, really appreciate all your time and support in these important efforts.
You're very welcome, because you're working on our behalf. So
Yeah, thank
we
you.
appreciate the ALA beyond words. So yes, doing great work.
Thank you.